Let's talk Tanya for the 23rd of Cheshvan. So today we will conclude this chapter in Igeres HaKodesh, chapter 29. We've spoken for the last few days about the importance of mitzvahs, doing mitzvahs, because every time we do a mitzvah is sourced in God's ratzon and God's desire, that creates a garment for the soul, as we discussed at length in the previous segments. Today we're going to transition and talk about how God's ratzon, how God's desire, how His will appears in the Torah. After all, the Torah expresses God's will. How do we know what God wants of us? Because the Torah tells us, God says, do this, don't do that. However, in the written Torah, although God's will is present there, but it is hidden. And the Alter Rebbe gives two examples. The Torah tells us, Ukshartam lo'ois al yadecha v'hoyu l'toitafeis bein einecha. This is the mitzvah of tefillin. You should tie them as a sign on your hand, and they should be toitafeis between your eyes. Now, if we don't have the oral Torah, if we don't have the Gemara, the Mishnah, the Talmud, what in the world does this mean? Ukshartam lo'ois al yadecha. Tie them as a sign on your hands. What am I supposed to tie? How am I supposed to tie? I have no idea what this means. And they should be toitafeis between my eyes. I don't even know what toitafeis are. And bein einecha, between my eyes, is that where tefillin are? Comes along the rabbis and they reveal their ratzon, God's desire inherent in these words, and they tell us exactly what it means. It means you take leather boxes and you have one compartment for the hand tefillin and 4 compartments for the head tefillin, exactly how you're supposed to put them on and how the color they have to be and how you're supposed to tie them around your hand. So the revelation of Hashem's ratzon in Torah is not in the written Torah, but in the oral Torah. The other example the Alter Rebbe gives is Shabbos. The Torah tells us, Lo sasa kol malacha, don't work on Shabbos. What does that mean? What does it mean not to work? Does that mean that I can't carry heavy stones on Shabbos? How about scrolling Instagram on my phone? That's not work, is it? We have no idea what it means till the sages come along and they revealed the ratzon, God's desire, which is that there are 39 root types of labor which are forbidden on Shabbos. And by the way, carrying something which is heavy is not forbidden. Scrolling on your phone is forbidden. So God's desire is revealed in Torah. This is why there's a pasuk which says, Eishes chayil ateres baila. It's a pasuk in Mishlei and Proverbs. The verse says, a woman of valor is her husband's crown. Now, in general, in Kabbalah, we talk about man and woman. The man is what's called the mashpia. The man is the giver or the initiator. The woman is the receiver, the cultivator, as we see actually in the process of procreation, right? The man provides the seed and the woman then receives it and cultivates it. So if the woman receives from the man, then how is she the crown of her husband? The crown signifies something which is even higher than her husband, but she's receiving from her husband. If she's higher, then why is she receiving? But the answer is just like actually in the case of procreation. Yes, the woman receives the seed, but then she develops it. And what is revealed is a beautiful and completely formed child, which we would not have if we only had the man. The same thing is also Eishes chayil ateres baila, in a mystical sense, is talking about Torah Sheba'al Peh. The oral Torah is the wife of the written Torah, because everything it has, it receives from the written Torah. Everything is derived from the written Torah. And that's why it's called the wife. But at the same time, ateres baila, she is the crown of her husband. Why is that? Because God's ratzon, God's desire, which as we explained in previous segments, is God's crown. Where is it revealed? Not in the written Torah. It is revealed in the oral Torah, in the Talmud, in the Mishnah. And that is why, as we said earlier on in this chapter, in the beginning, in the first day of the chapter, we spoke about that the halachas of Torah are called the taga. They are called the crown of the Torah because God's will, God's ratzon, which is God's keser, is revealed specifically in the halachas of Torah, in the laws of the Torah. And that's why we say that whoever studies halacha every single day has a portion of the world to come. What does that mean? In previous segments, we spoke about how the neshama needs the garments. Now, the neshama has different parts to the neshama. There's the action faculties of the neshama. There are also the intellectual faculties of the neshama. The garments for the action faculties of the neshama are the physical mitzvahs that we do. How about the intellect of the neshama? What garments does it need in order to be able to go into Gan Eden? And the answer is it needs to study halacha. That is why all of Torah study is very important, but the garments for the soul, and specifically for the intellect of the soul, so that it should be able to enter Gan Eden and delight in God's presence over there, that comes through studying halacha, and as we say, studying halacha every single day. With this, we concluded this letter. Hopefully it gives us a little of a push to study a little more halacha, realizing how important it is to study halacha. That is where God's will, God's desire is revealed. Tomorrow we start a new chapter, chapter 30, and it will be a letter once again on the topic of tzedakah.